Detective Drew Fowler, Drewfowler, Seattle Police spokesperson. So the incident today began around 3:15 p.m. Just so I get the address right, it was around 16 Avenue Southwest and Southwest Holden Street. The father, who was driving his 10-month-old child around in the back seat, apparently ran inside to a convenience store there to grab some items. As he was going into the store, a Hispanic male, late teens, early 20s, jumped into the car and stole it. At this time, we are actually referring to this as a kidnapping call. Apparently, the father told the man before he stole the vehicle that his child was in there. So we are going under the auspice that the person who sold this car also knew that there was a child inside. At approximately 3:35, with the assistance of King County Sheriff's deputies, the abandoned vehicle was located here at 99 and 8th Avenue Southwest. Our officers responded and brought the father here within 2 minutes. Thankfully, the 10-month-old child who was inside the car was completely unharmed and okay. We are at this time collecting the vehicle for evidence. We were a little bit behind the 8 ball, just given that we didn't know how long the vehicle had been abandoned. We immediately set up containment, flooded the area. We had dozens of units on the call with King County Sheriff's deputies as well as Seattle police officers. Also with the assistance of Guardian 1, the King County Sheriff's Office helicopter overhead. We were finally able to locate the suspect at about 4:18 is when he was taken into custody nearby. So he will be booked into King County Jail on investigation of kidnapping, and homicide is the follow-up unit, and our CSI will be investigating as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about taking him into custody, how that all went, where exactly he was?
So he was actually inside of a restaurant. So officers located him inside the restaurant, into the restaurant, and arrested him there.
So no incidents, no weapons, anything like that?
No. At this point, as much as I know, he was taken into custody without incident.
Can you talk a little bit about so I'm guessing Dad left the keys in the car, was the car running, kind of keeping the air on, or?
So, those are still questions we're looking into. We don't have answers to that yet, and that'll all be a part of the investigation, yes.
So when do they have this conversation, though, that the kid's in the car? Is Dad watching the guy jump in the car and he's like, hey, my baby's in there? Or is it, hey guy, I'm buying Cheetos and, I have a baby in my car? I mean, what was the ambiance?
I believe he was yelling that my child was in the car as it was being taken and or driven away. So that the timing of all of that is still being figured out. We're taking statements from the father, and we're going to be able to use surveillance video from the convenience store as well. That'll help piece this all together.
What would you say to parents? I know it happens, you're running in really quickly, but because of something like this, what would you want to say to them about even just leaving your child for a minute?
I would advise against it. I know it's very difficult, it can be very inconvenient, just timing-wise, but for safety, please take your child with you. This isn't something, we're not blaming anybody here other than the man who's kidnapped this child, but I'm certain, given the grief and heartache that father underwent for that 20 minutes before we were able to reunite him with his child, certainly wasn't worth it.
You did say the keys were in the ignition, the car was running.
We don't know that yet.
Okay.
We don't know that yet. I've heard conflicting information.
The car wasn't running though when they found it, right? The suspect told, or one of the witnesses said that there were keys in the ignition.
So I have heard that the vehicle was abandoned so abruptly it was actually rolling back with the child inside. A passerby jumped inside and actually stopped the car for us.